How y'all doing? In this video, I'm going to be uh, my and showing you my Hank Williams DVDs, VHS, and Blu-rays. This is going to be my special uh, 900 subscriber video. I'm almost at 900 subscribers, so once I hit that, once I make sure it's gonna, stay at that, maybe go a couple past it, that's when this video will be uploaded. So let's get started, because we got quite a few here. First, the obvious one is Your Cheating Heart, which is the first movie about Hank Williams. Came out in 1964. It stars George Hamilton as Hank. It also features Susan Oliver, Red Buttons, and Arthur O'Connell, among others. Arthur O'Connell and Red Buttons also were in the original Poseidon Adventure movie. It features 15-year-old Hank Jr. singing his father's songs. You hear hits like Jambalaya, Hey Good Looking, Long Gone, Lonesome Blues, I Saw the Light, Your Cheating Heart, Cold Cold Heart in it. Now, I know some of y'all aren't familiar with the movie, so you're probably wondering, is it accurate? The easy answer is no, not really. I mean, there's a couple of accurate things to it, but not a lot. But that's not why it was made that way. You see, his first wife, Hank's first wife, Audrey, was the technical advisor. So she, according to Lucretia, Hank's daughter, stepdaughter, but technically his daughter, that Audrey wanted everybody to leave the movie theater loving Hank. She felt that she could take any backlash, but she didn't want the backlash directed on him because he was gone, which I can understand. But what saves this movie is it tells a good story. It keeps you interested. I mean, yes, it's inaccurate, but it's a movie. It's going to happen. No matter how accurate a movie on somebody's life claims to be, it's still a movie. It's supposed to just give you an insight to that person. That's all. That's all it's supposed to do. It's not like it's a documentary. It's not a well-researched book. I mean, to know the person, to know Hank Williams, you would have had to know somebody that knew him, and I actually do know somebody that knew him, Hank. So, and yes, he's still around. He's an older guy, of course, but he's still around. He knows who he is. I'm not going to mention his name because, privacy, but he's a good guy. Next one I'll show you here is probably a good portrayal of Hank, at least in my opinion. Sneezy Waters plays Hank in the movie's called Hank Williams, The Show He Never Gave. It's where he's being driven to that show on New Year's, and he imagines himself in a bar doing a show instead. A New Year's Eve show. It's tells you about what his thoughts might have been and what he talks about on stage. So it's as close as you can get to a Hank Williams concert. I mean, there is obviously a couple of audio concerts and a lot of radio shows and other live audio of Hank performing. But other than a few clips from the Kate Smith show, there's no full concert of him performing his songs. So. But this is done really well. It came out in 1980. Sneezy Waters also played Hank in a play of this same name, Show He Never Gave, for a 10-year period. Sorry. You hear a lot of the hits on this. Lovesick Blues, Too Many Parties, Too Many Pals. Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You. Cheating Heart. Jambalaya, Cold Cold Heart, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, and many others. So definitely recommend that as well. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry if one of my cats gets vocal. Coco's, he's an older cat, so sometimes he just gets vocal for no reason. So sorry about that. He's quiet now, but sometimes he just complains. He's almost 17, so it is what it is. Um, Getting into a couple of the documentaries. Well, this is sort of like, actually, this is a tribute show more than anything. This is called Hank Williams, The Man and His Music. Um, what I like about this is it has Jim Owen playing Hank Williams and like scenes about his life as if it's from a movie. I'm starting to wonder if that actually was a movie. He did do a special on Hank Williams just called Hank, but it's not the same thing. But features Chris Christopherson doing "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry," Jim Owens doing "Honky Tonk Blues" and "Why Don't You Love Me Like You Used to Do," among others. Johnny Cash doing "Men with Broken Hearts," and Johnny Cash and Hank Jr. do "Kalijah" together. Lovesick Blues is Jim Owen and recreates the Opry debut when he had 6 performances. So yeah, this is definitely a good documentary. I don't know how easy it is to obtain these days, but I've had this for a while, obviously. Sorry, I've been filming a few videos today. My throat's not the best right now. Let's see. I'm trying to do these in somewhat of an order here. So the next one is Last Ride. Features Henry Thomas as Hank, Jesse James as the driver, Fred Dalton Thompson, and Kaylee Kuko also appear in this. This came out in 2012. Sorry. I don't know, it's just... like I said, I've been filming a few videos today. So. But this came out in 2012, as I said, and the thing about this is there's apparently a couple other movies called The Last Ride that came out the same year. So you got to be careful when looking for this one. So it should be noted that he's not referred to as Hank in the movie. He's referred to as either Mr. Wells or Luke, as in Luke the Drifter. He did have times where he would write a song and use a pseudonym called Herman P. Willis. So I don't really know where Mr. Wells came from, but it's possible. Even though when the movie came out, the guy that wrote a book about him, Chet Flippo, says he didn't, but Chet Flippo wrote the worst book on Hank Williams, called Your Cheating Heart. Just a lot of bullshit in it. If any Hank fan knows that, it's only the casual fans that ask about it, and it's like we all have to tell them, what the book is, and pretty much to avoid it. I mean, I guess if you have to have, the Hank book in your collection, that's one thing, but it's not worth reading, honestly. It's really not. But you'll have that. I mean, one of the reasons for it I'll give is there's an excerpt in it where he claims that Hank bought the songs "Cold Cold Heart" and "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry" from some guy named Paul Gilly, who the country music industry's never even heard of. There's no record of it, and supposedly this Paul Gilly wrote all these famous songs like "Crazy Honors" for Ray Price, and "When It's Springtime in Alaska" that Johnny Horton recorded, and he ended up dying. He ended up drowning. His mother destroyed all of his stuff because she was so distraught, so there's no evidence of it existing. It sounds far-fetched to me. I'm sorry, but it's like, we all know Hank wrote those songs. I mean, there's actually an interview with Mac Wiseman, and he talks about "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry." Uh, he's another great singer, Mac Wiseman, country singer. Him and Bill Monroe, according to him and Bill Monroe contributed to On So Lonesome I Could Cry, but they weren't given credit. Probably because, the different record labels, they would, cause friction over that. Um, but that's the way it was back then, unfortunately. Different labels were rivals, but that's more believable that two known songwriters helped Hank write that song versus, somebody that, nobody's ever heard of. Because he was asked, he's like, what words did you contribute? And Mac Wiseman, being so long ago, he's like, I can't remember. He's like, Hank had it started, but it's like me and Bill Monroe contributed to it. So. But another thing that's in that book, I know this is a tad off subject, but another thing that's bullshit that's in that book is he states more than one occasion that Hank went to Tootsie's Bar. Well, there's a little problem with that. Okay, Tootsie's didn't open until 1960. Hank died on New Year's Day, 1953. And there's another book that repeats that, just called Hank. And that's another book that basically trashes Hank. And also, I don't recommend it. In fact, I had a copy of it, and I took a Sharpie and I wrote on the side of it full of bullshit, and then put it in one of those free library things. But, yeah, he also states that he went to freaking Tootsie's Bar. So it's like, well, unless it was his ghost, yeah, that didn't happen. So, yeah, avoid those two books. Okay? But, yeah, back to the subject. So this is the Hank Williams tour DVD that I got from the Hank Williams Museum. I got it sent to me. I haven't actually been to the museum yet. I know at one point I thought about moving to Montgomery just so I could be near it, but I'd be there every day. And they'd probably get sick of me, so that's probably not a good idea. But yeah, this is the museum tour. It shows you just enough to draw you in, but not so much that, it, shows you everything. So, can't really say too much else about that. This also came from the Hank Williams Museum. This is live performances from the Kate Smith Show. I'm sure if you're a Hank fan, a lot of y'all are familiar with these. Him doing Hey Good Looking, I Saw the Light. In the second show, it shows him singing Cold Cold Heart, I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You, with Anita Carter. Now, the thing that was disappointing about this is, I knew it was made on demand. Okay, I didn't care about that. But the thing I was told before I bought it was that they were the full Kate Smith shows, not just Hank's performances. Well, all you get for what you pay, it's about $20 for the DVD. All you get is the performances. So that's a little disappointing, considering the full shows are available, and it's the whole Opry cast. So I think it's worth it. I think it'd be worth it to pay that for it, but well, whatever. Diving into a couple of the documentaries. In the Hank Williams tradition, this is another, more or less, not just a documentary, it's a tribute show. Hank Jr. doing Moving On Over, Randy Travis doing I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry and I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive. Waylon Jennings doing I Turn Back the Years. Emmylou Harris doing Half as Much, and May You Never Be Alone Like Me. So that's a good one. And it states on the back, Hank Williams is the undisputed king of country music, which he is. So probably the best documentary about him. Actually, wait a minute. Missing a couple here. Oh, right. Well, the probably the best documentary about him is this one, Honky Tonk Blues, where it features interviews from Lucretia, of course, his band, the Drifting Cowboys, such as Jerry Rivers and Don Helms. Also, Hank III, Hank Jr., Jet Williams. There's even interviews with Billie Jean, his second wife. So, it's about as good as you can get when it comes to the documentaries. Although, here's another one. This is Hank Williams, The Lonesome Heart of Country. This is from Biography. It's only about 50 minutes long. Again, it features interviews with his band, but it also features interviews with people like Merle Kilgore and people like that. There's also a historian, I can't remember his name, that's interviewed here. So, my only gripe with this one is it's a little too short. It's one of their 50-minute ones. He should have gotten one that was twice that length. It is what it is. Well, keeping the theme of The Last Ride, talking a little more about The Last Ride before I get into this other one. Basically, what it is it's a two-man odyssey. Jet Williams describes it as, not everybody knows what happened on that trip, and it's true with all the different reports, they don't. So Hank indeed knew his driver, but in this movie here, he doesn't. He's a kid that he hires to drive him to those shows. So, I mean, it's pretty accurate, but like I said, he is referred to earlier in the video. He is referred to as Mr. Wells in it. In fact, you see at the beginning of the movie where the guy says, "Use the name Mr. Wells this trip." So, I don't know, but sometimes they use pseudo names, like Stephen King would write as Richard Bachman. So, but it's a good movie. It's done really well. Soundtrack's pretty good. Jet Williams performed a few songs including a couple versions of her father's songs, such as "I Can't Help It," "If I'm Still in Love with You," and "Hey Good Looking." The other two she did were "Longing" and the Hank Williams Blues. Doing the credits, the other song that plays is "The Night Hank Williams Came to Town" by Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. It also features, let's see, I can't remember all the songs on the soundtrack. Let me see if I can grab it here. It's got the "What You Gonna Do," Nathan Young. Michael English doing "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry." Sarah Johns doing "It Wasn't God Who Made Honky Tonk Angels." Rebecca Fraser's doing a very good job of the Carter Family's "Keep on the Sunny Side," which is a key song in a scene in the movie. You'll see. "The Last Ride" by Tony Ramey. It's a good soundtrack. The movie's fairly easy to obtain, but the soundtrack may be a little difficult because it was only done as a promotional thing, so I don't know how many there actually are. But being this DVD, this is other DVD that I got from the Hank Williams Museum, "The Last Days of Hank Williams," stories told by two men who were there, which is Charles Carr, his driver, and Broxton chauffeur. So they both talk about Hank Williams' last days. The reason I don't watch this one, when I always go through the rotation, is because this is a sad one and it's really hard to watch. I mean, The Last Ride kind of is too, but it's more, watchable than this one is. The reason for that is because it's got footage of Hank's funeral, and it showed the angle of the casket that I had never seen up until that point, where you can see Hank laying in the casket. And, it's it's a little less than a half hour long, but by the time it was over with, when I did watch it, I had tears rolling down my face. So just be prepared for that if you get this from the Hank Williams Museum, because you can get this in the tour DVD for $10, but just be prepared that it's gonna hit you. Speaking of Jim Owen, he did this an evening with Hank Williams Sr. This is what I referred to. Um, I also have the burned copy of the disc that the seller sent me when I got this, which is why I don't play the tape very often, because it's, you can see it's signed by Jim Owen, who passed away. So, but it's like basically a one-man odyssey of him reenacting Hank's life, but there's no other people in it but him. But what it does very well. It's only about an hour or so long, so it was a TV special, I guess, in 1976, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I actually messaged Jim Owen a couple of times, talked to him a little bit. He was a nice guy. I wish I had talked to him more, but, you know, it is what it is, you know. Okay, so no, I'd say the last one here, or wait, no, got one more before the last one. Okay, so I have this other documentary here called I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive. Now, the reason it looks a little different is because this is from Germany. It is in English, but it's from Germany. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if you seek it out, you need either a Region 2 DVD player or an all-region Blu-ray player. Because it's Region 2, it's region coded. It will not play in a US DVD player, you know, if you don't have that. If you don't have a Region 2 player like I have, believe me, if I didn't have the Region 2 player, I wouldn't have gotten this. But, you need either that or the all-region Blu-ray player to play it. But it's a good documentary. It features, interviews with, like, Willie Nelson, Porter Wagoner. There's even an interview with Hank's sister, Irene, which is rare. The bonus features are a little puzzling on here because there's Townes Van Zandt doing a song that has nothing to do with Hank Williams. I don't know why it's on here, but it is what it is, I guess. Somebody was arguing with me on Facebook a while back, trying to say Townes Van Zandt was better than Hank Williams, and it's like, Townes Van Zandt's not even in the same category as Hank Williams. He's not even in the vicinity, so it's like, whatever you say. Okay, so the last one I'm going to talk about here. I mean, I have another tribute show I'll show you after, but so the last one I'm going to show you here, you probably have guessed it. I know this isn't exactly popular among Hank's fans, but it's still part of it. So this is a movie I Saw the Light. It stars Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen. And it also features Cherry Jones as his mother, Lily, who actually played in The Perfect Storm as one of those people on the sailing boat. It features Maddie Hasson as, I think Maddie Hasson's the one that played Billie Jean, I do believe. So, before I really dive into this, I mean, I don't really know what people were expecting. Granted, I was a little put off when it was announced that a British guy, who I wasn't familiar with at the time, was going to play Hank. I was like, oh, okay. But, that being said, I don't know what people were expecting from this. It didn't make a lot of money because it only was in 700 theaters when it was stated it was going to be, you know, have a wider release, but it didn't. To tell you the truth, I remember this. I had cable at the time, and the only TV station I saw the movie advertised on was CMT. No other station that I watched showed a TV spot for this movie. So, the advertisements just weren't there. It's like they didn't want the movie to do well, it seemed. Does it have its flaws? Yes, of course. It's a movie. It does recreate some of Hank's good times. I mean, like his debut on the Opry, his homecoming in Montgomery, Alabama, things like that. One of my gripes is that it focused a little too much on the negative aspects of his life, which there was one scene where he appeared to be snorting something out of a tube, which he was not a drug addict. He took prescription pills, but they were prescribed to him from a doctor. Granted, the fake doctor that prescribed him that shit toward the end of his life, obviously didn't help him, but still acting as a doctor that prescribed him. So he didn't. As I think it was Jerry Rivers that said this. It's like he didn't know what an illicit drug was. It's like they didn't really have that shit back then. It really wasn't a thing like it is, now, or like it became in like the late '60s, early '70s period when people started doing that shit. The late '40s, early '50s, that wasn't really a thing. But other than that, I mean, the movie's good for what it is. I mean, like I said, it has its flaws. I mean, some of the scenes that were cut for the deleted scenes should have been put back in it to make the story flow a little better. But Tom Hiddleston did a good job with what he was given. I mean, he actually wanted more time to work on the songs, but it's you're gonna have that when you're filming a movie. You have to be on a schedule. So I mean, if you're asking me, do I like it? It's like, yeah, I like it. It's like, do I like it better than Your Cheating Heart, as some people do? Well, it's kind of a toss-up, because, like I said, both movies have their flaws. So, I mean, I guess I like them about the same. I mean, they both aren't perfect. They both, they are what they are, honestly. But that's why they're a movie. They're not a documentary. But, Elizabeth Olsen, who is the Olsen twins' younger sister, did a great job in this. Shows that she's got a great range as an actress. She, of course, played the Scarlet Witch in the Marvels movies, which it doesn't look like her character is going to be coming back, which is kind of fucked up. So she's one of the best characters in that. But it shows her range, whereas her older sisters basically acted in a bunch of direct-to-video B movies. If you take out the fact that they starred on Full House, well, Full House was a long time ago, and there were a lot of stars on Full House. And they were also, the Olsen twins were also in a couple of other TV shows, I think it was called Two of a Kind or something like that, or whatever. It had the name Two in the title, I think. I don't know, I forget. But, so I mean, they're doing what their thing, but Elizabeth Olsen, I say, is definitely the better of any of them. Like I said, it is a good movie, but I think a lot of people back in '05, they saw the Johnny Cash movie, I Walked the Line, and they expected it to be that. Well, it's like, well, That movie was good, but it had its flaws too. I mean, an example of this is where they showed Johnny Cash passing out on stage or collapsing on stage. That never actually happened. They just wanted to show how bad his pill addiction was, but it never actually happened. So I mean, like I said, it's a good movie, but it's like you can draw your own conclusion from it, I guess. I just think that some of the Hank fans that watched it were expecting way too much out of it. They were expecting it to be this, accurate portrayal, and it's like the guy's not going to be Hank Williams. Okay, I've seen this every biopic I watch where it's like one's about James Dean is another example. There's this one called James Dean Live Fast, Die Young. Casper Van Dien plays James Dean. He did pretty good, but people trash it because it came out under the radar. But it showed his racing career. It showed he did have a little bit of a crazy side at times, which he did. Some people don't seem to want to accept that, but he did. He had his flaws, but it's what made him what he was. But same with Hank. It's he did his own thing. He really didn't care what you thought of him. And that's why he's the first. He was the first outlaw. He was the first hellraiser in music. But that's why he's the king. Like I said, it is a good movie, but I can't force you to watch it, just like I can't force you to watch any of the other ones. So, last thing I'm going to show you here is I also do have the Louisiana Hayride documentary up there that also features Hank in it, of course. But it's not all about Hank. That's why I didn't bother showing you. I got other country music, documentaries too that show him, so I couldn't see showing all of those. So this is Frizzell and Williams on tour again. David Frizzell and Jet Williams, CD and DVD. So you get David Frizzell doing Lefties, If You Got the Money, I Got the Time. Also, I Love You a Thousand Ways, and Saginaw, Michigan, among others. And you get Jet Williams doing her father's Cold, Cold Heart, So Lonesome I Could Cry, Kalijah, which is listed as Jambalaya on the DVD side, but it's Kalijah, and yet on the CD, it's Jambalaya. That's what it's supposed to be. So I don't know who made the error there, but whatever. You also get, as a bonus, you get a vintage performance of Lefty Frizzell doing If You Got the Money, which looks like it's from the 60s, and of course the Kate Smith appearance of Hank doing Hey Good Looking. So it's pretty neat. But yeah, those are what I got of the kind of like the movie media, I guess you'd call it, of Hank. The stuff that you watch. I mean, because if I showed you what I had, obviously on CD and record, this video would probably never end. So I might show you a few of those someday, but it's like I'm not going to be able to do everything. I just, because I have so much of it, and it's all over the place. It's gotten to the points where I try to keep it all in one place, but I got so much of it, it's wherever I can fit it now. So, but anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I said, this will be uploaded for the 900th, after the 900 subscriber is recorded on my channel, which should be soon. Like I said, we're at 896, so we're getting there. But anyways, I'll see y'all next time.